Hey everybody, this is Erick from Pew Pew Podcast at Phoenix Comicon 2015, and I'm here with J.Gonzo. How's it going, man?
Pretty good, man. It's going pretty good.
Cool. So, for people who are not familiar with who J.Gonzo is, tell them about yourself. Tell them what do you do. What's the J.Gonzo story? Not the whole thing, but
Well, I'm an artist. We'll keep it short. I'm an artist and creator of Mano Del Destino. It's a story of a once champion luchador who is betrayed by his friends and unmasked in the ring, loses his belt and his identity. And he signs a Faustian bargain with a mysterious promoter to gain a new identity and some new power to get his revenge. But like all good Faustian bargains, he realizes there's some strings attached. So he's trying to extract himself from the deal, still get his revenge, but not compromise who he knows himself to be in the process. And there's various twists and turns throughout that as well.
So, for people who may not have read La Mano del Destino yet, tell them about why luchadors, how did this idea come about, essentially?
Well, the short answer to that is I was very dissatisfied with the way Lucha Libre has been portrayed in American pop culture, especially because these guys were heroes to me as a kid, as a Latino, as a Chicano growing up in LA. I used to love Lucha Libre, watching El Santo movies. But something happened in my lifetime where it shifted to where luchadors became kind of a punchline in American pop culture, and to some extent even like Latino culture became kind of a punchline in American pop culture. And I was just kind of sick of seeing my heroes being portrayed as these big dim-witted oafs. And then every time like I see Hollywood try to do something with Lucha Libre, they kind of anglify it into a way that kind of erodes at like what I view as the emotional core of Lucha Libre. And so rather than waiting for Hollywood or Marvel or DC to do them right, I was just like, I'm going to do it right myself. I wanted to do something that pays respect to the sport, that treats the sport with respect, treats the luchadors with respect, and more importantly, treats like all Latino culture with respect. So I put all of the things that I love. I love like old 60s El Santo films. I love vintage design. I love Lucha Libre. And my graphic design sense of like, I love uncoated paper. I love old 60s comic books, and I put that all into one project, which is La Mano Del Destino.
Just taking something that you're so passionate about and turning that into a project, I feel alone is worth its weight in gold.
Yeah.
And it's great, and it's true. I feel that when people think of Lucha Libre and luchadors and the mask, they think of it almost as for the uninitiated, they think of it almost as like kind of clowns or some sort of circus act, and it's been misrepresented so much.
Absolutely.
that you have something like Nacho Libre, where
you know what, I take offense to I hear a lot of people. Can I swear on the spot on this? Okay.
Yes and no.
Okay.
Bleep it out.
I'll say it. You bleep it out. So I hear a lot of people shit talk Nacho Libre. Two things about that movie why it's great. One, it's shot beautifully. Two, it treats Lucha Libre with respect. The wrestling is important. The wrestlers wrestle. They're treated as heroes in that show. Everybody wants to be a luchador. Jack Black's a little silly, but there are silly luchadors. But Ramses is very serious. Like all the other and the guy, they never take their mask off except for Nacho, but you see his background story, so you kind of need to know. Yeah. So I think the whole movie is kayfabe. It's all treated for real. That's why I love that movie. The fact that an Anglo played a luchador, but he comes from in the story he's like a German father and a Mexican mother. So I'm okay with his performance per se, but I love how they treated Lucha Libre in that movie, and that's literally part of that's kind of. When I saw that, I was like, oh, I wanted to push it. I wanted to push the kayfabe and the respect for the sport one step further and really make it very, very Latino. So, but I do agree with you that other versions of Lucha Libre, cartoons that have been on the air, you can just see network executives kind of push them into a broader Anglo-friendly version, and you get shows where the luchadors are taking their mask off every 5 minutes, and that really bothers me because having the mask on is is the ultimate in Lucha Libre. You lose your mask, you lose your identity. You have to wrestle barefaced, and the shame of wrestling barefaced, and they never address that in these cartoons. So yeah, I hear what you're saying about about how it's portrayed in American culture, but I personally hold Nacho Libre as kind of near the top of how movies about Lucha Libre could be portrayed. I mean, the amount of love and respect for the sport comes through, and you see the guy who directed it, you can see his love for Lucha Libre. He doesn't really make it a joke. I mean, he does kind of have some kind of caricatures in the movie, but he does treat everything with respect. So,
oh, that's great. I've seen it a couple times, but I'm not as familiar with the luchador culture, or the Lucha Libre, but That's great to hear. And as you're saying, them not wrestling without masks and everything.
Yeah.
You even have this this print, right? That what is it? The identity.
It says that it should be noted that a luchador doesn't put a mask or doesn't don his mask to conceal his identity, but to reveal his identity. So that's always a thought that I've had. I feel that like part of the reason that Lucha Libre resonated within Latino culture, because masked wrestlers and wrestling in general wasn't new to Mexico. It was Salvador Lutero Gonzalez who really kind of popularized it, and I think he tapped into something that he didn't realize, maybe, or maybe he did, but Mexicans especially, and Latinos kind of in general, have a complicated relationship with identity, because we all carry the last name of the Spanish, but the skin color of the people that they conquered. So we're as much conquistador as we are conquered. We're as much victimizer as we are victim. And so much of our culture is about what we do and not who we are, because who we are is kind of complicated. We're the jerky conquerors, and we're also the people who were conquered. So much of what Latino culture's worth is about what you actually do, and not who you just intrinsically are. And so luchadors, unlike American wrestling, where there's a suspension of disbelief, there's a little bit of, that Dwayne Johnson plays The Rock, who is a wrestler. Luchadors have no identity outside their mask. They subjugate their own ego to become something beyond themselves, to become these symbols that are just the mask. They have there's no alter ego. They're Batman with no Bruce Wayne. And so and once you put the mask on, you're only that guy. Your success is only for that guy. The guy outside the mask is kind of nobody. And so that's why these guys wear them all the time. They wear them to their weddings, and they wear them in their real life, And so, and these guys end up with legitimately in real life, they end up with kind of scars on their face from having worn the mask as much as they do. There's a lot of sacrifice of ego that goes into being a bigger, broader symbol. And I think that resonates with the Mexican people and Latinos in general. But I did my best to kind of ease people without getting too preachy about the importance of the mask and what have you. And there's 3 panels, and there's a page that is 3 panels in the first issue that kind of gets that idea across. It's a very show don't tell kind of thing, where you see La Mano in the shower, and outside the shower is both his mask and a towel hanging, and then you see the mask is gone and the towel is there, and then you see they're both gone. So that when he gets out of the shower, the first thing he reaches for is his mask, because to him, being naked isn't that he doesn't have the towel on, it's that he doesn't have his mask on. And so I think just showing little things like that, and you understand that he lost his mask, and that was hugely devastating for him, and then showing how important the mask is, it puts the importance on there, and it leads people who are unfamiliar with it to an understanding of the importance of that identity, like I said before, because it's all you are once you put the mask on. You're never anything kind of outside of that. So
you're putting faith in the reader. You're giving them more credit for being smart.
Yeah, I'm huge on having faith in the reader. I know I've worked for other companies where they really like to dumb things. They want everybody to understand it, and kind of when you speak so that idiots understand you sound like an idiot. So I choose to believe the best in people. I don't think I'm smarter than anybody. I think if I get it, other people will get it. And so but I also write because I write and draw, I kind of loosely outline everything, and then I thumbnail everything, and I just try to show and not tell. And I think, how much can I get away with without having to put word balloons in there? What gets this idea across without having to put word balloons in there? And I also have a lot of history in advertising. And what I've learned in my history of advertising is that the more emotionally involved you get someone in a story that you're trying to tell, and a message you're trying to give, the more it sticks with them, the more sticky it is. And so the way to do that, and I've always believed that my job as an artist isn't to reflect reality, but to abbreviate it. So when you abbreviate something, someone else fills in the rest for you. And when they do that, they fill in their experiences and their ideas of what it is. And so now it becomes personal. And so if I draw, let's say, I always use this example, if I draw a cat and it's just a circle with 2 triangles and whiskers sticking out of it, that then becomes all cats. And so someone sees that, and they put into that image, that icon, everything that they've experienced with cats, and it becomes every cat they've ever known, how they like cats or don't like cats, what have you. But if I sit there and I draw a tabby and every little hair is perfect, it can only ever be that one cat. And if that has no resonance with the person, then they're lost. And so my art style is also kind of abbreviated. My storytelling is kind of abbreviated, and the viewer then fills in the blanks. I give someone the idea of people wrestling rather than a photorealistic representation of people wrestling. They fill in the action, and it becomes more real to them because they did the work to put the dots together. And so I do a lot of that within the comic book, and I also know that people will do the work. Like, they want to figure it out. It's a puzzle kind of to be solved, and that's why they can become emotionally involved in the story. And the more I can do that, the more successful I am with the book. And then also, like you said, I just have respect for my audience. I dislike the attitude of some people who market or create or what have you, that everybody's dumb and that they're the smartest person in the room. Like, I don't want to be the smartest person in the room, nor do I think I'm particularly brilliant and genius and I need to really dumb it down for the masses. Like, no, people get it. I'm amazed at the little tiny things like just dumb stuff that I put in there just for me. I love this. I love Eames lounge chair, so I draw an Eames lounge chair in his house, and then I'll hear people like, "Oh, I love that you put an Eames lounge chair in there." I'm like, "Yeah, you see, people are smart," and I choose to believe the best in people, and they have yet to disappoint me. Like, people haven't let me down yet. So,
yeah, I feel like we could talk about stuff forever, but let's get to the nitty-gritty. How far is this comic in? How far do you plan on taking it? And where can people get it if they want to read it, as they should?
So I'm up to 4 issues of a 6-issue series on this particular story arc. So, and you can get them at castleandkeypublications.com. There's links to my store. I'm a little low on supplies. I'm going to restock soon, probably Tuesday, Wednesday of this week. I don't know when this is going up. And then, so I'm going to do these 6 issues. I'm going to put the trade paperback out when that happens in English and in Spanish. It's going to be a flip book. That's probably going to be maybe summer of next year. That should be out. So issue 5 should be out by the end of this year. Issue 6 should be out the beginning of next year. And then the trade paperback summer of next year. And then I'm going to take a break. I've got a couple other stories I want to tell, but I do want to come back to the world of Mano, and I've got another 6-issue story arc that I want to tell. But that's probably a year and a half to 2 years away. So be wrapping this whole story up by beginning of 2016, with the trade coming out in July of July-ish of 2016, and then probably somewhere around like 2018 or the end of 2017, I'm going to revisit his world. But it depends on the success too. I mean, if someone snatches it up and wants me to, is going to pay me to produce a bunch more, then I'll definitely. I have 3 more story arcs in mind that I want to tell with him. But this initial first story arc, I have planned out for 6 issues.
That's awesome. I'm excited for the rest of this. Also, tell people where they can find your artwork and if they want to buy prints or whatever.
Well, everything is in my store at castleandkeypublications.com. Personally, like me as an artist who does other things like graphic design and art direction and creative direction, I also have J.GonzoDesigns.com. So the Castle and Key Publications is very, it's La Mano Del Destino focused. J.GonzoDesigns.com is there's other stuff I do there. There's characters I don't own that are in my portfolio. Like I've got some Superman drawings and some stuff like that. So that's just more me as an artist. So if you want to just kind of see what else I do that's not La Mano or Lucha Libre, you can check that out as well. So
awesome. Thanks so much, J.Gonzo, for speaking to us. Make sure to check out Castle and Key Publications, La Mano del Destino, and everything else that he has on his website. Thanks so much again. And thanks from Phoenix Comicon. This is Erick with Pew Pew Podcast.